Have you been wondering if there's going to be more stimulus or possibly stimulus checks with a recession? That's a really good question and a very common question as well, which is exactly what I'm going to be discussing here in this video, and you may enjoy my answers, so let's get into it and discuss the details. First off, before we do, thanks so much for watching. If you've not done so yet, please make sure to subscribe down below, as it's totally free to do so, and I'm here for you every single day to help out in any way that I can, talk through all the details, keep you informed of what's going on, advocate on your behalf, and of course point out anything that may result in you getting more money in any way you possibly can. I want to help you out. I get it. A lot of people are struggling financially right now. Thank you so much. Please subscribe down below and let's talk about stimulus. All right, so I've received this question a number of times over the years, and as of recently, I've had a few people reaching out saying, hey, I heard we're getting this recession. Recession is coming in. Does this mean we're going to get stimulus checks again? Because remember, the last recession, it was very short-lived, but in early 2020, right, or around that time in 2020, when the whole economy was closed down, obviously we dipped into a recession because everything was closed down, right? So therefore, GDP was down and production was down. Therefore, we had a technical recession. And yes, that did actually happen during the time. But we also saw during that time that they printed about $6 trillion. They pushed out about $1 trillion worth of that in the form of stimulus checks and a whole variety of other stimulative measures like the PPP for small businesses. We had the enhanced unemployment benefits. We had all kinds of business loans. We had all kinds of things that were happening during that time. Tons and tons of money being plowed out the door, okay? So let me just tell you really quickly. Let's take a little step back in history for just a second here, just to discuss what's going on, okay? And look back at history, because I think we all recognize history a lot of times repeats itself and a lot of times leaves clues as to what's going to happen in the future, right? Not every time, but it's pretty consistent. Let's just say that much. We know the details. But anyway, so what happened back in the year 2000? Good old Y2K, 2000, 2001. Well, we saw a massive economic contraction, a massive economic recession based on the dot-com bubble, which popped, the whole markets collapsed, everything like that. And what happened then? Stimulus. They stimulated, and therefore stimulus checks were also part of that during the time. In fact, they were $300 back then. $300. Could you imagine getting a $300 stimulus check these days? What an insult. We'd have to throw it in the garbage because it'd be practically that. Garbage. $300 would be nothing, right? That'd do nothing for anybody. Can you imagine that? But anyway, that was 24 years ago. So yeah, $300 back then actually had some value. $300 today is basically like a pack of gum. It's nothing, right? Like virtually nothing. So anyway, that was 2000, 2001. Yes, recession, stimulus during that time. Now let's fast forward all the way to 2008, 2009. What happened then? Well, we saw the whole housing market, the real estate market collapse, the whole subprime thing implode onto itself. And yes, we saw a major recession then as well. Markets came down a ton. We saw stimulus provided at that time. And yes, we did also see, what did we see? Stimulus checks. Yes, during that time we saw stimulus checks, another recession during that time. Now, as you can see there, recessions don't come all that often. 2000, 2001, 2008, 2009. So that's about a 7-year period of time between 7-8 year period of time between those. So they don't happen all that often, you know, according to history here. But then we had a very long period of time, basically 2009, when the markets and everything bottomed, early 2009, and then we took off and we basically didn't see anything out until early 2020. Same situation. We're all living our lives, and then one day we hear about this thing going on over in China, and we're like, what's this going on over there? I don't know, but we're good here in the United States for now, right? Well, then shortly thereafter, didn't really happen, and we weren't spared, and then we all know what happened then, right? We were all told to stay home, live in our pajamas, argue over toilet paper, and yeah, that was about it, right? So then what happened? Well, everything was closed down, everything was locked down, and the economy basically nosedived right into a recession for a couple months there. Well, a couple quarters, I should say, is what happened. Everything was down. And yes, what happened then? We got stimulus checks in 2020 as well. We got $1,200. So do you see a little bit of a trend there, by the way? Just want to point that out really fast. 2000, 2001, we got $300. That was a long time ago, 24 years ago. In 2008, 2009, we got $600. They doubled, 300 to 600. In 2020, we got $1,200. Again, another doubling from 600 to 1,200, right? I don't know. I find that to be a little bit interesting. So kind of makes you wonder, next time is it going to be doubled again? Is it going to be 2,400 the next time? I don't know, but just wanted to point that out really quick. But then obviously for political reasons and all kinds of things like that, yes, we did get stimulus checks again in the end of 2020, $600 there. And then, of course, we got the $1,400, which was basically a bribe. Let's just say that much. That's literally what it was. We got $1,400 in early 2021 as well, right? Okay, so 3 stimulus checks during that time when we saw a major economic contraction, economic slowdown. So big answer and big question being, in the event of another recession, will there be stimulus? Well, obviously I can't promise anything because I have no idea what they're going to do. But if we look back at history, we can clearly see that history absolutely continued to repeat itself. We saw over the course of, call it, what was that? From the year 2000 out and through the year of, say, 2021. So what? A 21-year period of time. We saw multiple recessions. Well, I shouldn't say multiple. We saw about 3 recessions there, and we saw multiple stimulus checks that did go out to the people. We also saw other stimulus that was provided during that time for a variety of other reasons, you know what I mean, just to stimulate the economy. Now, let me point out really quickly here. In the event of another recession, which according to what we're looking at, a lot of people are suggesting that toward the end of this year and early 2025, we're likely going to see a major recession. I don't know. Only time will tell. I'm just simply saying that's just what I'm reading about this. But here's the whole point. I think we all need to remember this as well, okay? There's a lot of people out there saying we're never getting stimulus checks again. I would say I totally 100% disagree. I do believe we will get stimulus checks again. Why? Because they do the same thing literally every single time. Let me explain really fast the purpose of stimulus checks. Do they care about us? Is that why they give us stimulus checks? Because they feel so bad for us that we're going through a bad economic time and they feel so bad they're going to give us some money. No, they don't care about us at all. Just recognize that. They don't care about us. I don't know who believes that they actually care about us. If you think that they care about us, I'm sorry, but that is not true at all. That's maybe delusional thinking. They don't care one bit about us, okay? Well, okay, maybe they care about us a little bit for tax revenues. Other than that, they don't care about us. We're literally just pawns in their game, okay? But let's just say this much, okay? When we have an economic recession, what do? They give us stimulus checks. Why? Because when we're in an economic recession, in other words, the economy is contracting, unemployment is going up, businesses are going down, people are becoming unemployed, all kinds of bad things like this. They give us stimulus because they know, hey, if we give the people stimulus checks in the form of economic impact payments, what are they going to do? They're going to spend it. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what people do. So they give us a couple $100 billion worth of stimulus checks, or nearly $1 trillion worth of stimulus checks like they did in 2020 through 2021. Nearly $1 trillion worth of checks went out to people, and they know that we spend that money. So they know that if we're in an economic contraction, that, hey, if we give the people money, they're going to spend it. So they give all this money to the people because they know we're going to go out and buy a bunch of stuff with it. It could be food, it could be clothes, it could be TVs, it could be shoes, it could be a purse, it could be a belt, it could be who knows what, a vacation, it could be a car, anything. That's good. They want us to do that. Why? Because it stimulates the economy. That's the whole purpose. Remember, stimulus checks are technically not called stimulus checks. Stimulus checks are called economic impact payments. That's literally what they're called, right? So my point is to impact the economy. That's literally what they're for, okay? So that's the whole point here. So if you're somebody that's been wondering, hey, if there's a recession, are we going to get another stimulus check? My answer to that would be probably a very high likelihood of getting one, okay? Because they do it to stimulate the economy, because they know that that money will get into the economy super fast. Because what do? We get $1 and we spend $1.50, right? We get $1 today and 3 minutes later it's spent on something, right? They know this about the psychology of the people. They know that if we get money, especially just money that's been handed to us, that we usually go out and we spend all of it, and a lot of times we spend a little bit more, right? We get a $1,200 stimulus check and we spend $1,400. Oops, that was a mistake. Oh, dang, I spent a little bit too much. Well, that's exactly what they want us to do, right? They want us to do that, and it falls right into exactly the plan, okay? So that's my point here. Now, a couple other things that I would point out really fast as well is that, first off, I would want to see how bad is the recession, okay? Are we just like dipping into a recession and dipping out? Is it kind of prolonged? Is it going to be ugly one? Is unemployment rising rapidly going into the recession? What's going on with the markets, okay? I want to look at a lot of the factors going into to determine what is the likelihood of stimulus and how big would they actually go with it. But you can see here from all the reports and the little history lesson I gave you earlier, every recession that we've gone through in the last 24 years have all yielded stimulus. All of them, every single one of them. Okay, so my point is, do you think stimulus would come with the next recession? My bet would be 100% yes. That is my bet. Do I know for sure? Nope, I don't know for sure, right? I don't have a clue for sure. I'm just simply saying, if we look at history, we can clearly see what they do during recessions. They print money, they stimulate, and they try to bring the economy back and reinflate the bubble so we can go through the whole cycle again. It's the natural cycle of the economy. It's the natural cycle of the business cycle. It's just what happens, right? There's nothing wrong with it whatsoever. Recessions are actually a good thing every so often. Not all the time, but every so often a good old recession is actually a pretty good thing. It resets a lot of the economy. Not a bad thing whatsoever. And right now, a recession would not really be a bad thing. We could certainly use one right now. Just bring it on. Let's do this. Let's get it over with. And it would help a lot of things, in a big way, including a lot of the inflation we're dealing with. Does that help? So anyway, those of you that were wondering, there you go. I hope that explains a little bit further. Feel free, by the way, feel free to fact check anything that I talked about here in this video. You have Google just like I do. Look it up. If you don't believe me, look it up. You can clearly find it just like I have. And we can just think back in history too. It's not that hard to do. Anyways, that helped? Please subscribe down below if you haven't done so yet. Share the video. There's a share button down below. Like the video. There's a like button, thumbs up button down below. Otherwise, check out the other videos here on the channel, the thousands in the video library, the ones I've hand selected for you down below in the description at the top of the comment section. And right now, pop on up your screen as well. You'll see some videos there. Thank you. Enjoy. Take care. Have a good one. Check out that next video, and I'll see you again in just a minute.